Welcome to the Tuesday devotional, and I'm here on Tuesday because I am preaching on Sunday, and I look forward to seeing you then. Before I talk about what we are going to be talking about on Sunday, I'd like to introduce you to a great resource devotional, and I like to do this from time to time, but this one is called Simply Jesus. And it's a beautiful book. I bought this book for our 4 sons to read in their own devotional time. But each chapter is an easy read, but it's all about Jesus. And it says, experiencing the one your heart longs for. Oh, that Jesus might have first place in everything. And it's just well done, great devotional. Just in case you're not using a devotional at this time, great book. Now, we come to Ezra. The book of Ezra will be in chapter 4 this Sunday. And Ezra was written at a time toward the end of the Old Testament. Remember, Malachi was the last prophet. And Malachi actually writes and says some things to the people in Nehemiah's day and Ezra's day. And after Malachi is done with his book, there's 400 years of silence between the Old Testament and New Testament as far as the sacred scriptures are concerned. God is completely silent. We have no record of him saying anything to the Jewish people. And the first time he speaks is at Jesus' baptism. When he says this, God speaks, he says, "This is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased." First time he speaks, and he speaks about his own son. But back in the day, when Ezra wrote this book, covers about 120 years, really. There's a lot about the subject of sovereignty, God's sovereign will over our life. And this is seen throughout Scripture, how God is able to use those people in positions of authority to get God's will done. He'll use pagans, those who have no interest in spiritual things, and in many instances antagonistic to the gospel and to the Jewish people. And yet, God is able to use these earthly powers to accomplish his kingdom purposes. And I just want to direct you to Proverbs chapter 21, verse 1, where it says this: a king's heart, a magistrate's heart, is like channels of water in the hand of the Lord. He turns it wherever he wishes. God turns it wherever he pleases. The king's heart is like channels of water in the hand of the Lord, and God turns it wherever he wants. So he is able to affect the heart of kings to carry out his eternal purposes. And this is really important when we talk about our own life. Obviously, when Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery, and then he's brought to Egypt, he ends up becoming second in command to the Pharaoh. And that's all a part of God's divine design, so that 400 years later, Moses would lead his people out. And at that point, the Pharaoh then said, "Go." Okay. But we read this throughout Scripture, how in the days of Ezra, Cyrus and Artaxerxes are great kings of Persia, and yet God uses these powerful men to draw the people back to Jerusalem so that they can build that temple and build the walls and have a place of worship and establish themselves in their homeland so that one day the Messiah could be born there. Even Augustus, Caesar Augustus, remember, he decreed that all the world should be taxed. And what that meant was that Joseph and Mary had to go to a place called Bethlehem. And in the Old Testament in Micah, we read that Jesus was going to be born in Bethlehem. I'm just saying that those in authority throughout history have, in a sense, been pawns in the hand of God. God is able to move their heart wherever he wishes. And this is true for you and me in terms of those in authority over us. There's no authority on earth that can take you out of God's will. They can only be used to end up bringing you in to God's will in some kind of circuitous route. It's all because God is sovereign. He's the King of all kings. And so while you may have someone in authority over you right now, and there are many authorities over us in this pecking order of life, God is working. God is working. And we need to kind of lean into that the King of Kings will take care of us. And we will go through hard times. We will go through struggles and trials brought about by those in authority over us. But at the end of the day, God is going to get his way, and he's going to lead us into his will for us as long as we're putting our trust in him. So there's a word for the day, and I hope to see you on Sunday. We'll have a great time unpacking chapter 4 of Ezra. Look forward to seeing you. Bye-bye.